Hi, my name is Elisa Blunden, and I am a 2011 graduate of USM's Art Education program. I wanted to make this video for other teachers or soon-to-be teachers that were interested in possibly teaching abroad. I've been an art teacher for 3 years now, and I've been working abroad. This is my first year working abroad. I'm working in Southeast Asia currently. Before this, I worked for a small district in Norway, Maine, and I worked for them for 2 years as an art teacher at the elementary level. I was a choice-based teacher, and I developed a choice-based philosophy and program while I was working there. I've been in Southeast Asia since July of 2014 when I took a position in Yangon, Myanmar. I decided to teach abroad for a variety of different reasons. One, I've always wanted to go abroad, and I wanted to be able to combine that with my love of teaching. And being able to do both of them at the same time provides both stability and the availability to travel and be adventurous. So when I was making this video, I started thinking about some questions that I had when I was thinking about starting to teach abroad. So I thought I'd go through a few of those questions and give you the answers to them that I know of now. First of all, what are the benefits of teaching abroad? Teaching abroad has a lot of great things about it. I guess we'll start right in and talk about the salary. My take-home pay is actually just about equal to my take-home pay that I was making when I was a full-time teacher in Maine. On top of the salary, I also get a variety of different benefits, including housing. The school pays for provides me with housing. They provide me with transportation to and from school. They provide me with worldwide health insurance. They take care of all of the visas, both the costs and the paperwork for them. They give me visa run money, which is the visas for this country only last 70 days. So every 70 days I have to leave the country. So they provide me with an allowance to leave the country and renew my visa and then come back into the country. And they also provide me with flights to and from, not only at the beginning of my contract, but also every year in the middle of my contract. So I get a flight equal to that of the price that a flight would be from my home of record to here, Yangon, Myanmar. On top of that, those are the benefits that my particular school provides. Other schools provide other benefits, like moving allowance. So they'll give you so much money to help you move your things and yourself abroad. Some of them will give you a settling in allowance to buy household items, furniture, and whatnot. Some of them provide you with a car, or if that's necessary, or a car and a driver. A lot of them will give you professional development funds, and some of them will even give you a bonus when you complete your contract, to make sure you follow it all the way through. So because my contract provides me with all of these benefits on top of my salary, it's a great choice for people who are looking to make some sort of savings, or in my case, pay off some of my debt, my student loan debt. So I'm sending about half of my salary home each month to take care of debt and savings. And then, of course, one of the best benefits of teaching abroad is that you get to travel. Our year-long schedule here is about equal to that in the States. We start at the beginning of August, we end at the very end of May. We have a week-long fall break and a week-long spring break, and then 3 weeks for winter break. So during all those times, you're free to go and travel, and Southeast Asia is a great place to be for that, because there's so many different places to go right around here that are pretty inexpensive. So my next question that I had was, okay, this all sounds fantastic, right? So how do I get a teaching position abroad? For the first few years when I was looking for a position abroad, I kind of looked half-heartedly. And for those years, I signed up with some smaller companies that said they helped teachers find a position abroad. And all of those smaller companies were free companies. And you kind of get what you pay for. They didn't result in anything. So when I finally decided that I wanted to be serious about teaching abroad, I signed up with a search placement company. There's two main international placement companies. One of them is called Search Associates, and one of them is called ISS. Both of them, honestly, they're both about equal. I did a lot of research when I was trying to decide which one to sign up for, and I ended up going with Search Associates, but I know a lot of people that do go with ISS or even go with both. And what these companies do is that they take teachers who want to teach abroad, and they take international schools and they put them together. So the process of this is you can apply online to one of these placement agencies, and then they go through all the work of vetting you. They check your qualifications, they check your certification, they check your references, and a note on your references, Search Associates requires you to have a reference from your current employer. So that kind of makes sure that you're really serious about teaching abroad, because you have to let your current employer know that you're thinking about leaving and you need a reference from them. So just a little note about references. So they check all of those things, and they make sure that you're a qualified candidate, and then when you're accepted, it does cost, I think it was roughly around $200 for this service for a teacher. And then once you get accepted into Search Associates or your placement company, they open you to a database of openings, positions that are available. And you can start going through schools, looking if their positions are available. You can search for just the positions available. You can search by location, and they do a great job putting all the information on there that you want to know. They put the salary, the benefits, the contract terms, the links to the school, email addresses to people that you need. So really, it's everything that you need right there to track down a position that you're interested in. And then at that point, you can start emailing positions, you can start applying, sending them your resume, sending them your references. Well, you don't need to send them your references because Search already has that for you. You just send them your profile and it has all the information for you. So it's a really convenient way to handle quite a large task of finding a position abroad. And then the other thing that's different about finding an international teaching position opposed to a local one is that these big placement companies hold job fairs. And they hold, I'm not sure exactly how many, maybe 5 to 10 in a year. And these are huge, huge events that hundreds and hundreds of teachers flock to because the schools will send representatives from their school to each of the fairs and have the positions that they have available listed, and then they'll actually interview right there, and a lot of teachers will get jobs directly from the job fair. So when I was looking, I went to a job fair in Cambridge, Mass, and it was a whirlwind event. Yeah, maybe I'll make a different video about job fairs, but pretty much you go and there's hundreds of schools and you look through all the positions and you ask if you can have an interview with them, and then they look through your resume, and if they think you might be a good fit, they'll give you an interview, and then you'll interview with them at the hotel, and then they might have other interviews, they might offer you the position, they can ask you questions. An interesting difference between interviews with international schools opposed to interviews with local schools that I've had is that since the placement company has already done all the vetting, they already know that you're a qualified candidate. The international schools are more interested in who you are as a person and how you will handle the transition to being abroad and being in their particular school, in their school environment. So it was really interesting to see the changes in the questions that they're asking you when they're interviewing. The next question that I had written down was the difference between the hiring process of local versus overseas teaching placements. I just talked a little bit about that in the interviews portion. Another thing is that unless you're going to a job fair, most likely your interviews will be online. So you'll have Skype interviews, so that's kind of a little bit of a different process. Usually it's not a panel of people that you're sitting in front of. It's most likely just one person that you're interviewing in front of, and you might be doing it at your house or in your classroom. So it's a different environment, and you just kind of have to be prepared for still being able to be professional and in the interview mood when you're in that environment. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was the contracts. The contracts for international positions are almost always at least 2 years because they don't want to go through all of the transition of getting you settled, you know, getting you used to the environment, getting you recognized in the school, and going through that whole process, and then having you leave just as soon as you came. So plan to spend at least 2 years in a position if you're thinking about going abroad. Next, I just wanted to note on international teaching in general, and the differences between teaching abroad and teaching locally. First of all, one thing that's really interesting is having coworkers who are more along the same mindsets as you. For me, it was a little difficult teaching locally when I knew I wanted to go abroad, because I had goals and aspirations for my career and personally that were very, very different than my coworkers who were more interested in, they're more settled and rooted in the place where they were. So it's really nice now to have connections with coworkers that have similar interests and similar likes and similar goals in mind. Then, of course, the students. The students are fantastic. Don't we always say that? But the difference here is that we have students with global mindsets. In particular, my school that I work at, the International School of Myanmar, the goal for the school is that the students graduate with an education to send them to a Western university. That's the intent when parents put their students in this school. So because they're getting ready to go to Western schools while they're still in this culture, they have these more global mindsets. They're more interested in what's going on around the world and what the different cultures are and what the differences between the cultures are, and more open to people and topics and subject matters and lessons about different cultures. So that's a really interesting environment to be in. The students are also extremely respectful here. Part of that is culturally, and I think part of that is also being in an international school. This is a for-profit school, so it is quite expensive to attend. The students that are here are not international students for the most part. They're the high class of the wealthy Myanmar citizens. So because of that, the parents are paying a lot of money for the students to attend this school, so there are different expectations. They take their education very seriously, and they take teachers very seriously and their work very seriously. So the expectations are really high, both for teachers and for students. The skill levels are extremely high, and it kind of made me up my game a little bit to be able to match those expectations. So again, not better or worse, just a little different different situations that you're working with. Because this is a for-profit school, it's run by a board of directors, which are the owners of the school. So the school itself is run a little differently with the in situations like budgeting, approval of budgets, approval of systems. So what I was saying before my camera died is that the system of the school is not as black and white as maybe some of schools that are run differently. It's just a different kind of administration that you have to get used to. Speaking about kind of curriculum and system-wise, ISM is American Standards-Based Curriculum. So the curriculum that I teach is almost identical to what I would teach if I were teaching high school in the States. A lot of international schools have what they call the IB curriculum, which is the International Baccalaureate, and that's just a different sort of curriculum philosophy, different sort of, not standards or like numbered grades. It's more about passing, like learning a skill level. So if you're going into an international school, you most likely have to adopt the style of teaching that they prefer, that they have already set up for you. So lastly, my advice for you, for anyone who's interested in possibly teaching abroad, firstly, make sure you have your certification. Positions will look for that. Now, this whole video, I'm particularly talking about being able to teach abroad in your specialty. For me, it was art education. There are plenty of programs that you can go through that you can teach English abroad, TEFL programs, and that's really different than teaching in your specialty. TEFL, you can go through, pay $1,000, go through an English teaching program. You don't have to have a degree or any experience teaching. But teaching in your specialty, they're going to be looking for a certification. They're going to prefer having experience. I think it really helped for me to have 2 years experience. If you don't have any experience, you definitely still can get a position. It'll be most likely in what they call like a hardship position, which is placements that people don't want to go to as much. But those hardship positions have great benefits because, one, you can get your foot in the door, and two, they usually have really, really high salaries. So this position that I'm in is a little bit of a hardship position, and it was a little bit more of a compromise because I also have my wife that came with me, who is a chef, and not all schools, not all countries allowed schools to provide for visas for spouses that weren't teachers. So we had to do a little work with that, finding the right fit. And I think that's what it is about, is finding the right fit, what works for you. Other advice that I have for you is make sure that you're open-minded in where you want to go. If you just say, everyone says, I want to teach in Europe. Probably not going to get a position in Europe. Maybe put in a couple years at a hardship position, and as much as they say a hardship position, I'm sure people still have great experiences in these more difficult, less appealing places to go to. So be open-minded of where you want to go to. Don't give yourself limitations without really doing your research and knowing what the placement is like. Keep that open-mindedness and flexibility when you do get a position, because you're going to need it, because things are not easy, but it's definitely worth it. So just be ready for a change and for everything to be difficult, because everything's more challenging when you're in a different culture. But like I said, certainly worth it. And lastly, if you're really seriously interested, stop planning, stop maybe just puttering around, and just go for it. Sign up with a placement company, start looking seriously, and before you know it, you'll probably have a position. So I'm happy to answer more questions. I'll put my email below if you want to ask any more questions about teaching abroad, or getting a position abroad, or teaching art abroad. Just let me know. Also, you can check out my website where I've been keeping information and blog posts, recording things from when I've been abroad, and that's teacheattravel.com. Thanks, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you abroad.